My name is Abigail Phillips. I'm going to be serving in the Baha'i World Center in the Libraries and Archive Department. The first time I ever heard of the Baha'i faith was spring semester 2016. I was walking through the campus center and saw the booth that the Baha'i Club had set up. And there were pamphlets for the spiritual reading devotionals that the club had hosted. Can I go again? I read some and thought, wow, this is really, really interesting.
This idea had been floating around, right? Because I work at a university. There's 7,000 students. None of them were Baha'i, but it's such a wonderful population, right? And so we were thinking, well, how do we serve this community? Fall semester comes around, first meeting. There were 10 students that came. It was very encouraging that there was so much interest.
I was like, hey, I want to be part of a organization. I want to make new friends, so I found the Baha'i Club. I would say that this Baha'i Club has given me a new way of thinking, how religion works together and what they believe in, how it affects everyone in their daily life.
When I went to the first meeting, I remember thinking, wow, they really do practice what they say. When I saw that everyone at the Baha'i Club was different religions, the president was Protestant Christian, the vice president was Baptist, the secretary was Catholic, and the media officer was Methodist.
And the first day I came to the first meeting, we read different kind of prayer belong to different kind of religion, from Buddhist, Christian, Muslim faith.
It was almost like meeting an old friend. I think the Baha'i faith connects people in a sense that when you have that common understanding, it's almost as if you've always known each other.
At the same time, I started going to Catholic church again. I was raised Catholic, and it was almost at the same time that I decided, along with a friend from volleyball, to get confirmed in the Catholic faith. My grandfather died during this fall semester, and this was the first death that really affected me. My mother called, and she said, "Come, he's dying." I asked my boss for time off, caught a bus, and headed home. I just had my work clothes and my purse, and in my purse, the only book I had, and the only one I read the whole way to Texas, was the book Eternal Soul by Abdu'l-Baha, a book I had picked up at the university's bicentenary celebration. I will never forget the impact of the first passage in that book. To consider that after the death of the body, the spirit perishes is like imagining that a bird in a cage will be destroyed if the cage is broken. Though the bird has nothing to fear from the destruction of the cage, our body is like the cage, and the spirit is like the bird. After completing Reflections of the Life of the Spirit intensively in Fort Smith in November 2017, I really wanted to do Book 2, Arising to Serve. The community in Fort Smith was really supportive, and I was able to complete the book in December 2017.
Welcome everyone, we're so happy to be here today for our Book 2.
Funny story, in my Book 2 intensive, all the participants and the tutor too also were old and white. It touched me when they talked about participating in the Martin Luther King Jr. parade, but I thought, they're all old, and oh snap, the faith is going to die off. It must have been popping in the 60s and 70s, but now they're talking about the importance of youth, and I'm the only one. I better do something.
So then, a regional development facilitator moves into town. And it was lovely having someone to come into Fort Smith who had a lot of experience not only with the Institute process, but in just the overall functioning of the administration of the faith. It's much more than any of us honestly had it in this area. So when she arrived, and in the talking and in the visiting, we connected with the Institute campaign that was going on in Plano.
In the first 2 Ruhi books, there had been all this talk about the power of youth, and I was actually seeing it, seeing young people with so much insight. Also, all the youth at the campaign were so open to my experiences as a Catholic. They wanted to know about my religious beliefs in a non-judgmental way. So it was in spring break 2018 that I declared in College Station, Texas, at the community's feast. When I got home after feast, I told Mom I was a Baha'i. She said, "What about your Catholic youth group?" I formed a bowl with my hands and said, "This is my Catholicism that I love." And then I used my arms to show a big bowl encompassing my small bowl, and I said that this was my Baha'i faith. I wanted her to understand that being Baha'i is an extension of my Catholic beliefs, not a rejection of them, and she understood.
As more and more receptive souls embrace the cause of God and throw in their lot with those already participating in the global enterprise underway, the development and activity of the individual, the institutions, and the community are sure to receive a mighty thrust forward. May a bewildered humanity see in the relationships being forged among these 3 protagonists by the followers of Baha'u'llah a pattern of collective life that will propel it towards its high destiny.
The youth said, "Sandy, are you going back in June?" And I said, "I will if you guys want to go." So we took another 5 or 6 back in June, and that's when most of them did book 3 and 4.
With this, my second experience at an Institute campaign, I was excited to see the diversity. At my first campaign, back in winter 2017, I was like, they say this religion is diverse, but this is mostly Persians. At the end of the winter campaign, one of my friends did give me the background on why so many Iranians had settled in this area of Texas. So I did leave understanding why there wasn't that much diversity there. But in the summer 2018 campaign, there were youth from Texas and Oklahoma and Arkansas and Louisiana. It was so diverse.
We found out that there was a community in Houston that really wanted a Homefront pioneer. We initially were like, let's keep her here, let's keep her here. But we knew that we didn't have the growth yet happening in this community to give her the experience that she needed in this path of service that she was embarking upon. We just didn't have it. So we talked with the auxiliary board member for the Houston area.
Baha'is and people from the wider community are the ones who have power of action. They are the ones who can serve. No institution can do this. So to release this power of action in individuals, I feel is one of the most important and sacred parts of the service of the auxiliary board member.
While serving in Nottingham, that was going to be exposed to different races. So one of my roommates were Iranian and another roommate was white, and I'd never lived with anyone that wasn't of my own race. And so having patience to understand different cultures and different backgrounds, and that there's really no such thing as common sense. We all come from different walks of life, and so we all have different expectations or different understandings of how things should be done. And so serving with people of different races really helped me to understand, okay, we needed to create unity in our own home so that whenever we bring people in from the wider community, they see us in harmony.
So in her year of service in Houston, she's acquired some wonderful experience. So she came back to Fort Smith to share that with us because we're in the process of finding a focused neighborhood.
I heard one of the opportunities you can do to serve God was in the Baha'i World Center. and you can serve in the archive department, either like in photography or manuscripting and stuff. And I was like, wow, you can like do that as like a religious volunteer.
And Abigail had been telling me, oh, you know, I love archives, I love history. And I said, oh, you have to talk to Lorraine. She worked at the World Center in the archives department.
They emailed me and they were like, we've come to a conclusion about your application. Told me I got invited to serve in the Baha'i World Center for 30 months in the Libraries and Archive Department. And I felt like I was dreaming. Like I felt like it was a privilege I didn't deserve.
She called, she FaceTimed, and she's like, guess what? I said, what's going on? Because I could tell there was something. She had her eyes were all teary. And she said she got the letter, the invitation to do her service in Haifa. So it was like, of course.
Still a little bittersweet, you know, going to miss her a little bit, but, you know, it's such an amazing opportunity.
You know, it's not how long you're a Baha'i, really. It's the connection you make with Baha'u'llah, and hers was very fast and very steadfast and very connected. And so this was really the next step for her. So we were excited and happy and sad and all of those emotions all at the same time.
2.5 years, we'll have a hard time recognizing her when she gets back. I think she's going to grow in ways that we can't even imagine.
I'm excited to give back. That's what I'm thinking now. The Baha'is helped me in my lowest time spiritually. They helped me find myself spiritually. And I'm looking forward to helping others.